Find my stand. So let's take a look. Where's my storage? Oh. I hit the go live button. I'm going to bet this on Twitter, so let's just go live. Why the heck are you following me when I'm supposed to be going live? I'm gonna just let this slide. Bye-bye. I think I just will refresh this page. It does.
Right in front of basically Hoover Heliport, the home of LAPD's Air Support Division, as he crosses under the freeway here. So basically just coming into the downtown LA area, just crossing under the 10 freeway, and he's going to be southbound behind a couple of transit buses here. And there he is emerging from that tunnel, traveling at a very high rate of speed. Now, we don't know specifically what the threats were that this person was making, but there he is turning around, probably figuring that his options were kind of limited in this direction. So there he goes north and back under the 10 freeway. He'll be rejoining Vignes, and just coincidentally here, passing right in front of LAPD's Hoover Heliport, again, where LAPD's air support is stationed here. Now he's basically coming back up on Vignes here. He's rejoining traffic. Hard to tell what he's going to do. It looks like he's in the left turn lane, and in fact, yes, he does turn left, and he's again southbound. And it looks like he's in a position to rejoin the freeway here, basically the 101 northbound. So as he rejoins the freeway here, we are going to be encountering some traffic here. Traffic coming through what we call the downtown slot here is pretty heavy as you make your way up towards the 4-level interchange here. He is being pursued by LAPD officers, and having said that, it does look like we may have one additional CHP unit who is now basically on his trail. He's basically weaving in and out of traffic as he rejoins the freeway here, all the way in the number 1 lane, in the slow lane there. And so just making his way slowly up the 101 freeway. This pursuit has been going on for the better part of about half an hour to 40 minutes at this point. This all started, again, as an altercation, we believe, at a residence in the Boyle Heights area at about 10:15. So this has been going on for quite a time. Now, as we pull onto just a slightly wider shot, we want to give you kind of a lay of the lay of the land here. There's the 101 northbound that he is traveling, and you can see he is in some pretty slow traffic. We're talking about maybe 20 miles an hour, and he makes his way in towards, kind of weaving his way in and out of traffic there. You see he's just making his way up the freeway there just slowly, but there are a couple of helicopters, a couple of LAPD helicopters, and several LAPD units who are in pursuit of this guy. Five's going to be on the south side of the freeway here at 1,500. Okay. Well, as you can imagine, there are going to be quite a few. This is creating kind of a traffic nightmare on the 101 freeway northbound as some people start to stop and some people are pulling over as they see some of the activity. Okay, I got you. As they see some of the activity here. And so, you can see as some of the police units are making their way into the scene following this guy, they're having to weave in and out of some cars that have basically stopped on the freeway to make room for them. And so that is actually creating kind of a traffic backup here along the 101 freeway northbound as you kind of come out of the Hollywood, or as you come out of the downtown slot. So it looks like he's going to make his way northbound. Wow, look at that. Just some evasive maneuvers there, being trailed by the LAPD. And he may be in a position to exit or transition to the north here. And it looks like he may be transitioning to the northbound side of the 110 freeway. So he'll be leaving the 4-level interchange and he'll be joining the Arroyo Seco Parkway northbound as we come well through the Chinatown area here. And again, northbound side of the 110 freeway, still being pursued by my count, at least maybe 10, maybe a dozen or so LAPD officers. And so there it is. Wow, look at that. Look at that guy just traveling at a very high rate of speed, just coming through the Chinatown area. And again, northbound side of the 110 freeway, just as you leave the 4-level interchange. Guys? Okay, 5's just to the left of you there. I missed what you said. I think you were asking for a head count. I think, from what we understand, there's only one person, in this case the suspect, who is in the vehicle at this time. That is as of yet unconfirmed, but from what we understood from some of the radio chatter that we were hearing, there was only one the suspect in that car who was being pursued by the LAPD officers. Here we go, coming into the tunnels here. There are a series of 3 to 4 tunnels here northbound side of the 110 freeway as we approach the 5. You can see boy traveling at a very high rate of speed. You see all those LAPD units as that suspect makes his way through the tunnels, and we'll see if he commits to the 5 or stays on the 110 freeway northbound in towards, say, the South Pasadena area. But it looks like at this point he's going to be committing to the 110 freeway, so staying on the Arroyo Seco Parkway northbound. Now, this is going to be a pretty tricky stretch of freeway to be on because it's only 3 to 4 lanes wide, and typically cars are not traveling too terribly fast on this stretch of the freeway here. So we'll see what he does. But again, there he is in that slow lane, just kind of weaving in and out of traffic, dodging cars, avoiding the cops, and avoiding other commuter traffic in the area as he makes his way past Figueroa and up to the avenues. And J5 is coming up here 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock or so. Yeah, you know, it's a sad situation here. Northbound side of the 110 freeway, incidentally, just past Avenue 43, so we're well past the 5 freeway on the Arroyo Seco Parkway. In fact, we are just now coming up in towards, say the South Pasadena area here shortly. But it looks like he may be exiting the freeway here. We'll try and get an exit for you and see, in fact, what he decides to do here. But again, he is on surface streets, and we've seen this a couple of times before where he will exit on surface streets and basically rejoin the freeway going in the opposite direction. So we don't know that that will be the case, but it does look like if he does make a left turn at this point right here, he will put himself in a position to rejoin the 110 freeway, the Arroyo Seco Parkway southbound. And in fact, that's what he's going to do. It looks like as we slightly pull out to a slightly wider side, he's just going to bypass one or two of the cars here who are waiting to enter the freeway. This, as you know, for many of us who travel this 110 freeway, is a very dangerous stretch of the freeway here to enter because basically cars are coming in at full speed, and so you really have to take your time as you enter the freeway. He did so. It's sort of, kind of say haphazardly, I guess I would call it. But again, southbound side of the 110 freeway, so he has rejoined the Arroyo Seco Parkway and is now going to be southbound on the 110 freeway, just passing Debs Park and down towards Avenue 43, Figueroa, maybe towards the 5 freeway. And so this is what we have seen time and time again, at least the third time at this point, where the suspect was traveling. Got you there. Where the suspect was traveling in one particular direction, he exits the freeway, basically rejoins the freeway in the opposite direction. So, what's going through this guy's head? Where is he going to go? We just don't know at this point. We understood that this initiated as some sort of an argument or some sort of an altercation in maybe the Boyle Heights area, maybe sort of the Alhambra area here. We're not too far from that particular location here. In fact, if we travel southbound on the 110 freeway over to the 5 South, that'll put us right back into the neighborhood or the general vicinity where this all began as an altercation that we believe at a residence. So this suspect is traveling at a very high rate of speed. We've just passed Avenue 43, and we will be heading down towards, we'll say, Avenue 26, Figueroa at the 5 freeway here shortly. Guys? Is he exiting? Yeah, you know what? we have noticed a pattern, that sort of a pattern in a lot of the pursuits that we've covered. We don't know that that is what is unfolding before us now. We know that he is transitioning to the northbound side of the 5 freeway here, and there he goes. So, yeah, it's hard to say that that is the situation in this particular case here. It looks like, in fact, taking the northbound 5, he's going to be coming through Elysian Valley, Frog Town for the folks who know it, Elysian Valley, Atwater Village up towards Silver Lake. So the northbound side of the 5, just passing the 110 freeway. So this, in fact, is taking us in a direction away from where this originally began, say in the Boyle Heights area here. So again, we're going to be coming up the 5 freeway here. We'll be joining the 5 freeway northbound, just passing Stadium Way, Riverside Drive, Frogtown, and Atwater Village here. Again, this is going to be a stretch of freeway that has a moderate amount of traffic on it, but as this guy makes his way into the carpool lane in the left shoulder there, he seems to be gaining speed and seems to be gaining some distance between he and the closest officer who might be following him. But having said that, we do have a couple of helicopters overhead, 2 LAPD helicopters to be specific here, who are basically following this pursuit and are basically watching every move that this guy makes. So there he is, northbound side of the 110 freeway here. We're joining, coming up on the 2 freeway, the Glendale freeway, in about another mile and a mile and a half or so. So we will see what this guy opts to do here. The northbound side of the 5 freeway right here, not too much traffic. We've passed that little area of slow traffic leaving the 110 freeway, but as we approach the 2, the Glendale freeway, a lot less traffic and a lot more speeds that this guy is capable of getting this vehicle up to. So here we go. We'll be seeing what he does here. It looks like he's committing himself to the 5 freeway. So as we pass the 2 freeway, we'll be coming in towards, say, the Atwater Village area, so on the left side of the freeway here. So, yeah, this guy's moving away, and he's kind of gaining some distance between he and his closest pursuing officer on the ground. But, yeah, there you go. Northbound side of the 5 will be coming up on Glendale Boulevard, Los Feliz, Colorado. The southbound side of the 5, incidentally, down to a crawl, but the northbound side not looking too bad as he makes his way up towards the Griffith Park area.
Be a long stream, I can do that.
I don't have that information. All we know is that this guy jumped into a car based on some kind of an altercation, and the cops were called. As the cops came on scene, he jumped into a car. Whose car is it? We just don't know at this point, but at any rate, the northbound side of the 5, just crossing under Glendale Boulevard, the Hyperion Bridge, and we'll be soon coming up on Los Feliz Boulevard and Colorado, the 134 freeway. So as we make our way, say, out of the Atwater Village area, Silver Lake, Los Feliz, up towards the Glendale area, we'll see if this guy continues on this particular path, or should he choose to get off the freeway as he has done at least 3 previous times. If he at some point chooses, as he chooses, if he should choose to exit the freeway.
Okay, this car's not going
anywhere. Looking at the traffic on the southbound side, that would be a pretty, not such a smart move to make, in that the traffic on the southbound side is so heavy.
You there?
Yeah.
Out of my copy, thank you.
Guys, I'm crazy.
Are you going?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
I'm 80 years old.
It's 2:14.
Yeah, you know what? Nothing to indicate that this guy's behavior, as he is outwardly showing, other than in his driving, is anything but, sort of semi-calm, I guess you might say. But given that fact, I mean, we just aren't able to see him at this point. He's not rolling down windows. He's not opening the door. He's not slowing down necessarily. He's just kind of maintaining a pretty fast pace here. Northbound on the 5, just incidentally, we are just coming up on, let me look up ahead here. We're just coming up on Colorado. So it looks like his plan, at least for the immediate future, is to stay on the northbound side of the 5 freeway. And passing Colorado, he'll be coming up to the 134 freeway. So he is in the Glendale area now. And shortly he will have an option to take the 134 or remain on the 5 and head into Burbank or head into the valley. So we will see what this guy chooses to do. Of course, he might even opt to go east on the 134 freeway, and it looks like he's making preparations to do something as he gets into that number 2 lane there. So we will follow this along over the course of the next, several moments here and see what he chooses to do. He can certainly choose to stay on the 5 freeway. In fact, given that the situation, we did hear some radio chatter that the car actually was registered to a person or a resident out in Pacoima. And so, given that new information here, northbound on the 5, heading towards the Burbank area, that might take him to a place where he is very, very familiar. If in fact this guy is from the Pacoima area.
That's not very nice. It's not? Look, I wasn't trying to be nice. That's what it happened. I didn't see anyone in the wilderness spot. And it gets really lonely. What? Did you say that the wilderness? Sure. The wilderness. Yes. Archer, you are a genius. Brad was already doing something. I'm hungry.
I know.
I can't stop eating. I'm starving. Is that me? You like it, right?
Let's try that. So I got my hands on a dock. I'm gonna go repeat.
What's butter?
It's about fun.
And what do you want me to do? She loves flare corn. I tried flare corn.
How to sit up and get
Decide to stay on the 5. Now, no rhyme or reason as to where this guy really, was going or had intended to go, given the fact that he made his way from, say, Boyle Heights all the way out to El Monte, and then all the way out to South Pasadena, through Silver Lake, through Atwater Village, through Frogtown, and now northbound on the 5 coming to Burbank. So we will kind of follow this along here. This guy is, again, just traveling at a very significant high rate of speed here, just kind of maintaining a certain amount of distance between he and his closest LAPD pursuers, who are about, I might guess, I'm going to say about a quarter mile back. Now, again, he is being tracked by a couple of LAPD helicopters, and so there's very little chance that he's going to be able to get away at this point. A couple of helicopters, kind of watching his every move here. Now tracking northbound along the 5 freeway. We'll be coming up on Latuna Canyon here, Sunland Boulevard here shortly as we pass in and out of the Burbank area. We'll be coming up on the Sun Valley area as we approach the 170. So we'll again watch this over the course of the next several minutes and see if he goes to an area of familiarity. In fact, again, we know that this vehicle registered in the Pacoima area. Guys?
Yeah, we're lucky, and he's lucky as well. The light to moderate traffic, it's allowing him to be able to swerve in and out at these high rates of speeds. You know, a lot of times on our freeways, they get blocked by heavy traffic, possibly like at a certain time. But right now at 11:15, not a lot of people on the roads. Again, if you're just following this, we broke in. This pursuit started about 1 hour ago, hour and 5 minutes ago in Boyle Heights. A suspect making criminal threats against a victim, then jumped in a car, this maroon Nissan Altima, and has been on the 10 in both directions, the 110 in both directions, the 101 as well, and now, as Mark Kono mentioned, he is on the 5, and we can't say exactly where he is headed, of course, but this car is registered to a person in Pacoima, so we can slightly assume that maybe he is headed back into that direction, an area that he may be more familiar with. That's the 134 that he eventually approaches to have to go to Pacoima, Mark?
No, he's going to be on the 5 freeway northbound here. 5 freeway northbound, just coming through Sun Valley here. He's just past Glen Oaks. He's coming up on Sheldon, Penrose, and up towards the 170 freeway. Once he gets past the 170 freeway, say in the next, well, by my count, about 2 miles or so. Once you get past the 170 freeway northbound on the 5, he will basically be in the Pacoima and Arleta area. So there's a strong possibility that this person may be going to an area of familiarity. Again, the LAPD is aware that this vehicle is based out of the Pacoima area. So it is very possible, I suppose, that maybe they have sent units over towards the home where this vehicle is registered. We just don't know at this point. But again, northbound on the 5, we'll be quickly approaching the 170 freeway in about a mile at this point. This guy just traveling kind of, well, at a moderate rate of speed at this point, moderate to fast at times. But it looks like something might have been thrown out the window. Not sure what it was, or not sure if the LAPD and trail were able to make note of that. But we will see over the course of the next couple of minutes how this guy's behavior changes. If in fact he stays on the 5 freeway, does he get off the freeway? He has a couple of options in the Pacoima area in terms of exits. He can get off on Bradford, he can get off on Osborne, he can get off on Terabella, Van Nuys Boulevard, and so just a lot of options in the Pacoima and Arleta area if this guy chooses to go back to an area that we assume that he is familiar with, given the fact that this vehicle is registered out of the Pacoima area. So here he is, another half mile or so. He'll be coming up on the 170 freeway, just kind of leisurely moving in and out of traffic, kind of weaving in and out, trying to gain some distance between he and the LAPD helicopters. He and the LAPD helicopters that have been pursuing him. But here he is, just now coming up to the split of the 5 and the 170, and it looks like he will be northbound on the 5, continuing over towards the 170. And what he does at this point is going to be of very serious interest to all of us here, because this is an area that we believe that he might be familiar with. So does he get off the freeway? He'll be passing Bradford, he'll be passing Osborne, Terabella, Van Nuys Boulevard, and up towards the 118 freeway. So there he is, kind of weaving in and out, kind of in the gore point there, kind of where the 5 and the 170 come together in the northbound direction. He'll be first coming up on Osborne, and it looks like that still may be an option for him. The Osborne exit in about a quarter of a mile at this point, and so we will certainly see what this guy decides to do. But again, it looks like he is making his way over towards the right lane, and he might be getting off on Osborne. And there you have it, the northbound side of the 5 exiting Osborne, as we kind of surmised might be the case. He is getting off right in the heart of Pacoima and Arleta. So does he make a right turn? Does he make a left turn? This is going to be Osborne Street, right in the heart of Pacoima, just alongside of the 5 freeway there. Look at that, just kind of weaving his way, threading the needle between that van and that car. Now he's going to be eastbound on Osborne, heading over towards San Fernando Road now. Let's see what he does here. He's going to be coming up to Laurel Canyon. That's going to be the first intersection that he comes up to, eastbound on Osborne. And it looks like he's going to be going through the inner. Wow, look at that. Cross traffic here, cross traffic there. Be careful. Northbound turn on Laurel Canyon, and so there you have it, northbound Laurel Canyon from Osborne. So he is right in the heart of Pacoima, which is an area that we believe he may know. So over the course of the next couple of minutes, we will kind of maintain our watch of this guy and see what he does. He's making a right turn, again, back to the east along a small residential street. We don't know what street that is. That might be Glamis. I will try and get the street for you, but he's now making a turn in towards the residential area. He may be heading towards, a place that he's very familiar with, maybe towards his home. We just don't know at this point. Got to there, Gibby. And again, southbound, if he goes another block southbound, he's going to be back over to Osborne Street, and certainly And certainly that looks like what he's going to be doing. He's going to be back on Osborne, now westbound, coming up to the intersection of Laurel Canyon. Wow, look at that, just kind of squeezing in and out of cars at this point, Sarah.
Yeah,
so as he
Mark,
comes up to the intersection, oh my gosh, okay, he's turning around now eastbound on Osborne. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is where, he's been on 4 different freeways, being able to drive pretty fast and leisurely along and somewhat safely. But now he's on these surface streets, and this is where we see things get really dangerous, because they'll run through red lights, they'll run through stop signs. But as we did mention, he started out in Boyle Heights, but now, because this car is registered to a driver in Pacoima, we think that maybe he's in an area that he is familiar with. But with that said, of course, LAPD and CHP have sent cars to the address where this car is registered, so he's going to encounter that as well if, in fact, he heads back to where this car is registered.
Well, we certainly think that's a possibility. I mean, prudence would dictate that if they know the address and they know the guy's coming in towards the area where this vehicle is registered, that they may send some officers to check out the location, especially given the fact that, this guy might be coming into the area, and it does appear that that is the case. He is going to be, he was kind of southbound on Hatton. It looks like he's going to be westbound on Brantford at this point, westbound on Brantford, heading back towards San Fernando Road in about a block or so. So he's coming up on an intersection here where he might, I can see him going through the intersection there. So he is continuing on Brantford to the west over towards the 5 freeway again, where he may have, the option to join the freeway. No, I don't think he's going to have that option at this point, but it does certainly look like he is going to be going underneath the 5 freeway, westbound on Brantford in towards the Arleta area here. So he's just now crossed under the 5 freeway into Arleta, still in the residential area. Anyone who might know Pacoima and Arleta would definitely know this particular area very well as he comes up on this intersection. That's going to be Arleta that he turns southbound on, southbound Arleta from Brantford, and we will continue to watch this. He is basically traveling through some residential areas here, and in another mile or a mile and a half, he'll be coming up on the 5 freeway, the 170 freeway, where he might opt to rejoin the freeway or what have you here. So it appears that this guy definitely knows his way around this particular neighborhood.
And it seems like he's speeding up. I was just saying, it seems like he's speeding up a lot too there, and just crossed through that intersection as well. So you're saying that there is a chance that he could now have an opportunity to get back on the 170 and leave this neighborhood.
Yeah, and it looks like he's going to be rejoining the 170. So another freeway for us to track this guy on. It looks like he's going to be rejoining the 170 freeway southbound here as he just gets onto the on-ramp here. Again, at a high rate of speed, he's going to be rejoining the southbound side of the 170 from the 5 freeway. So we will be leaving Pacoima and Arleta, and we will be back in towards...
Did you see, I just saw there, Mark, you could see something, he put something out of the window there.
It appears that it may be a rifle, possibly some sort of a long gun, a rifle, an assault rifle. It appears that may be what we are dealing with. We don't know just yet, but just now traveling southbound on the 170 freeway here. And there you have it. It looks like he's got a gun. He's holding a gun out the window. My goodness. So, okay, so this is a situation that is definitely taking a turn for the worse, potentially here. He has basically flashed a gun, holding it out the window here. Again, southbound side of the 170 freeway. We've just passed Roscoe from Sheldon, and so light traffic in terms of what the conditions are on the freeway southbound here. Possible. Go ahead.
Mark, we're not sure. I mean, obviously he held the rifle out, and we don't know what's going through his mind. Maybe he's saying it as a threat, like, I have a rifle, back off, get away from me. Or, at some point, some people may think that maybe he's trying to say, I surrender. I doubt that he's saying that. But, in this case, now, it's not just his safety. Now he's got a rifle that we can presume is loaded, and now he's on a freeway, and as if you've been following here, he's been on surface streets, he's been in neighborhoods. This takes it to the next level.
Yeah, it sure does. Given the fact that the guy basically held out his arm and he was holding some sort of an assault rifle, some sort of a long gun at this point, that just escalates this to a whole new level. It's potentially going to change the way the LAPD deals with him once they do get him stopped, and hopefully they will be able to do that shortly. But as we travel southbound on the 170 here, we're going to be just coming up on Victory. Victory is going to be an option for him to exit the freeway, and it looks like he's going to bypass that and stay on the 170 south. Now, looking ahead on the 170, I can see that traffic is going to starts to bunch up at about Magnolia as he approaches the Hollywood split, where where the 170 and the 101 come together here. But as he makes his way in towards the North Hollywood area, southbound side of the 170, very light traffic at this point, and so we will see what this person's intentions are. It certainly appears that, by brandishing a weapon, by holding a long rifle out the window of a car as you're being pursued by the LAPD, as well as helicopters here, it's just not a smart thing to do. And so we will see, over the course of the next several minutes what this guy opts to do. Hopefully he pulls over and surrenders peacefully. That would be the ideal situation here, but it doesn't look like that is his intention at this point. His intention seemingly to continue the pursuit and not being captured by the LAPD. Southbound side of the 170 freeway will be coming up on Burbank Boulevard here shortly, and again, we'll be coming up to an area of just a little bit tighter traffic, but again, he should be able to maneuver at speeds in and out and avoid some of this commuter traffic and avoid some of the folks that are pursuing him, should he decide to do so. And it looks like that certainly is the case. He looks like he may be exiting, but no, that does not seem to be the case. I think he's just kind of maneuvering in that off-ramp there at the top of the off-ramp just to get away from a couple of the cars here. But, okay, well, it looks like he may be exiting here.
And what is that exit, Mark? Magnolia.
Magnolia is the exit. Magnolia is the exit. It looks like he's kind of stuck behind a slower box truck here. But as he approaches Magnolia, the bottom of the off-ramp here, we'll see which direction he decides to go. He certainly has the option to rejoin the freeway. Should he just go straight ahead off the off-ramp, he can rejoin the 170 south. But we'll see what he does as he comes up on cross traffic here. It looks like he's making preparations to turn right, which would be westbound on Magnolia from the 170 freeway. So in towards the North Hollywood area, back and okay, it looks like he perhaps may be stopping. So hang on just a moment here. Let me put us into a position where we can see some of the activity that's going on here. So bear with me just a moment here. It looks like he may have stopped or pulled over to the right. And we will, let me see here.
And where is he now? He's in westbound on Magnolia.
What is he doing? It's possible that he's making preparations to load the rifle. We don't know at this point. Is he carrying it?
Yes, he is carrying the rifle.
He's running on foot now. He is now running on foot. The LAPD helicopter is overhead, so they do have eyes on him, but he has left his vehicle. He is now running on foot over towards the residential area here. The LAPD close on his trail in terms of where they are above him, though. We will try and get the intersection for you, but it looks like he's going to be in towards the neighborhood here. We're going to try and maneuver into a position where we might be able to see a little bit more of what his actions are. But again, there's someone who's basically looks like they're running away from him. There is some surface street traffic on the street as well, so this is turning into a potentially very, very dangerous situation here as we try and track the movements of this guy on the ground. It looks like he may...
Can you see what street he is on there, Mark? The suspect now, if you're just joining us, has been a pursuit that's been on 5 different freeways. We are now following the suspect who actually got out of the car here in North Hollywood. He is running on surface streets, carrying that we are presuming is a rifle that he showed outside of the car. He's now carrying that rifle, obviously being pursued by LAPD and CHP. It's kind of difficult here because he disappears in and out of the trees here. His car was registered to Pacoima, so we're not sure. Maybe he's familiar with this area in North Hollywood, maybe going to someone's home, maybe just randomly going into someone's home.
There is. Just an exceedingly tough situation here. Unfortunately, Lou, we are talking to Burbank Tower, and they're having us maneuver 2 miles to the south. But there you have it. There he is, the suspect still walking.
And not just walking, he's walking with a rifle in the neighborhood. It looks more like
he's on someone's property, basically walking on the grass on the backyard of someone's property there. You can see him kind of... well, he's just kind of standing around there, just maybe waiting for someone to come up to him. But you can see where he's basically behind that garage at this point. What his plans are, we just don't know at this point. Unfortunately, our shot is sort of deteriorating a little bit as the Burbank Tower asks us to maneuver a little bit farther to the south here. So we'll do the best we can. But we do know that the suspect is on foot. He basically ditched his car at the intersection right there off the 170 freeway at Magnolia. He has run in towards the neighborhood about a block to the west along Magnolia here. And he is now carrying his gun, his long rifle, his assault rifle presumably, and is walking around the neighborhood in and out of some of the homes that are based here.
Yeah, and also it's interesting because it looks like a cluster of homes in this area where he is in these yards. And I just saw another male walking. I don't know if it was a resident
they're still
in that
doing it.
area or the police officers who. Do you see any police officers on the ground yet? I mean, I'm assuming they're right there with him, but are you able to see any of that?
You know what? I do not see any police officers on the ground, but as we were just kind of maneuvering around our shot here, I can tell you that there are quite a few officers on the ground. I do have you there, Joe. And there are quite a few officers on the ground here, so they are basically fanning out in the neighborhood. The LAPD has a general idea where they are. They do still have a couple of helicopters overhead monitoring this guy's movement, so assuming that this guy doesn't kind of position under a tree or something like that, they should, thank you, they should know where he is, and hopefully they will be able to approach this guy, and this guy will hopefully give up peacefully. So far, that has not been the case, but again, the LAPD is aware of his whereabouts here, and so the helicopter's overhead. And it looks like there he is right there. It looks like he's jumped onto the top of a garage, so we've reacquired the shot there. He's basically on top of a garage at this point. What he's going to do, we don't know, but there you have it.
Mark, in this situation, it is so scary because he is acting like in no way is he surrendering here. He is being very aggressive, clearly showing that he does have a rifle. Or some type, it may even be a form of a machine gun there because it does have the base on the bottom of the gun as well. But he is clearly showing aggressive behavior, now sitting on a roof, but still holding that gun. And in this situation, how scary and for the police and CHP, because now he has a view to be able to, dare say, like begin being a sniper at this point if he wanted to be.
Yeah, just a dangerous situation here. The guy with a long rifle here, and he's in a position of advantage potentially because he is high up on a rooftop there, so you might be able to see the movements of some of the people who are on the ground trying to get him. And so, you know, a potentially very dangerous situation here. The LAPD might change around their tactics and how they deal with this guy. Hopefully they will be able to get this guy down peacefully, but certainly a very tense situation. This is right at the intersection, we understand, of Irvine and Magnolia. It's just about a couple of blocks to the west of the 170 freeway. We just did see the suspect there who had basically climbed up onto the roof of a home or a garage or something like that, possibly a carport, carrying that long rifle. So we don't know what his intentions are. Does he still want to resist? Does he not want to be captured? Or does he want to go peacefully? Hopefully the latter, but we just don't know at this point. The LAPD, again, is aware of the situation here. They do have a couple of airships overhead. They do know where he is. They do know where he is on the ground because we do have officers on the ground who are basically also tracking his movement. So we will see over the course of the next several minutes what he chooses to do. We are basically pulling out to a wide shot because we don't want to show anything, you know, that might be the result of gunfire or something like that. But we can tell you that the guy is standing. You can just kind of see in the center of the shot, he's basically standing up on a roof or something like that. And now he is behind the trees there, and so it's becoming increasingly difficult to kind of keep an eye on him. But he is still in that area here. He is still on that rooftop, and there he is just a little bit. You can see of him. But again, just a very tense situation here. You know, the best situation for this guy is if he were to just drop his weapon, put his arms up, and follow the instructions of the officers who are trying to take him into custody. That would be the best situation for all concerned here. Just give up peacefully, but that does not appear to be the case at this point, given the fact that this guy is now climbed up onto a roof and he's carrying a long rifle. So, again, a very just tense situation here that is unfolding there. In the top left of their screen there, that is going to be some of the LAPD response in the neighborhood here. And it looks like, for the most part, this guy is going to be boxed into this particular neighborhood at the very least. They know where he is, and they know he's on the rooftop. Helicopters overhead, and so hopefully they will be able to come bring this to a peaceful conclusion over the course of the next several minutes.
Mark, a couple of things here. We obviously, if you're watching this at home and you're in the area and you're in the neighborhood, police want you to stay indoors. I know it's enticing to go out and look and be a looky-loo, but this is a super dangerous situation. You are asked to stay indoors. The police are there. They're taking care of the situation.
How are you?
I'm also being told that the building behind where this suspect is there on the roof, sort of to the right of your screen there on top of the roof in white, is Oakwood School. So added stress here that the fact that there is a school in the situation or in the area as well. But again, police are suggesting that you do stay inside. If you're just tuning in here at KTLA, we've been following this pursuit. It started around 10:15. We've been on it for over 45 minutes here. The suspect traveling on the 10, the 101, the 110, the 5, the 170, and he ended up in North Hollywood, eventually exited the 170 and then got out of his vehicle carrying what we assume is a rifle. He originally was making threats against a victim, criminal threats against a victim, so we know he has aggressive behavior. He ran through the neighborhoods for a few minutes and eventually got on top of a roof here and has basically just sitting on the roof waiting to make the next move. We don't know what that move will be. You can see in the left part of the screen there, CHP and LAPD. The tactics here have to change. This is a situation where you have an armed suspect with erratic behavior. You have no idea what's going to happen here. This is super dangerous, possibly with a school behind it, Oakwood School. Mark, it's interesting in these situations as well because residents are everywhere. People want to come out and see, and this guy clearly is carrying a gun very aggressively, and you just never know what he's going to do there. Do you, in the past, have any, have you seen this happen and what the police end up doing in a situation like this?
Yeah, you know, and I have seen this a couple of times before where a suspect basically barricades himself onto a rooftop here, albeit not with a long rifle, so this situation is a little bit different here, but, you know, a long standout, long-term standoffs lasting several hours is the potential byproduct of something like this. But again, the circumstances here is a little bit different because we do have a suspect. He is armed. He does have a long rifle, and he has been very cavalier about brandishing it, about showing it. In fact, we saw him as he was holding it out the window, and he is now just kind of holding it on that rooftop. Now, we don't want to go into too tight of a shot in case there is some sort of gunplay or exchange of gunfire at this point. So we want to stay on kind of a wider shot, but just kind of give you the perspective. We can see the guy who's on the roof there, just kind of to the right center of the shot. And so the suspect to this point basically refusing to come down, to put his weapon down, to come down peacefully and end this thing. But a situation which is very tense and very difficult. The LAPD is no doubt giving him instructions on the ground, asking him to come down peacefully, maybe trying to find out what his situation is, why he is so disturbed or distraught about, you know, whatever circumstances that led him to this predicament here. So you were going to say something, Lou? Go ahead.
No, we were just discussing, you know, at this point, it's so interesting because what happens is, at some point, if he acts aggressive, the police are going to have to act against him, and that's the scary part there, because then that's when gunfire starts to happen, and this looks like really tight quarters. And as we also mentioned, Oakwood School possibly right there in that area, so kids in the area as well. It's just an aggressive, unfortunate situation here that we're going to continue, obviously, to watch as it unfolds here. If you're just tuning in here to KTLA, we are in North Hollywood. An armed suspect, after a pretty lengthy pursuit on 4 to 5 different freeways, has now gotten out of his vehicle with what we are presuming is a loaded rifle and is now on the roof of a house in a very tight area, in a little neighborhood here in North Hollywood. You can see the LAPD and CHP there to the left of your screen. I'm assuming that they're all around the block and, of course, in the air as well. The suspect not really doing anything but just pacing back and forth on the roof, being antagonistic a little bit here. I think that behavior is very aggressive, Mark.
Yeah, you know what it sure is, and you kind of described it perfectly. They're just kind of pacing back and forth on the roof. There's probably, you know, wondering what his next move is going to be here. So, yeah, a difficult situation, a tense situation. You can just see the suspect there, just to the right center of the screen. He's just kind of walking around on that kind of that light brown roof there, holding that long rifle. The LAPD just to the left of him along that street. And so, you know what, this time is on the side of the LAPD certainly at this point, and so they can wait this out as long as they need to. You know, of utmost importance is going to be the safety of the people who are most immediately affected, namely the people who might be in or near some of these homes. And so, as Lou had mentioned, you definitely want to stay indoors. The tendency perhaps might be to come outside of the house to see what's going on. definitely not a situation where you want to do that in this particular case, given the fact that this guy is on a roof in a position of advantage because he has the ability to see down, and he's carrying a long rifle. And so you know, the reasoning would be, of course, stay inside the house for your own safety. Let the LAPD do their thing no matter how long it takes. You don't want to risk anything here, and just kind of stay indoors and let this thing unfold. But hopefully it does so peacefully. But to this point, again, this guy just kind of standing there. You can kind of see him on the right side of your screen right there in the center, standing on that roof. You see the officers who are basically at the intersection just to the top left of the screen there. And so, yeah, just a very tense standoff situation where this suspect, again, refusing to come down. Now, you had mentioned him being antagonistic in this whole situation, you know, given the fact that this was a long plane pursuit, given the fact that he's now on a rooftop with a gun and refusing to come down. Absolutely. Definitely an antagonistic situation here where, you know, the potential for this thing to end in violence is certainly there. And so the LAPD, they certainly understand that. And so they want to treat this situation as delicately as possible while still maintaining the safety of everyone on the ground who might be affected by this particular situation here.
If you've just tuned in here, this has been going on for about an hour and a half, and you can see here on the left side of your screen, this was earlier during the pursuit, and now live on the right-hand side of your screen where the suspect is on top of the roof. This happened, we are told, it started at 10:15 this morning in Boyle Heights, a suspect making threats against a victim there. He jumped into a car and headed 10 eastbound, and that's when we first jumped onto this story and began following him. He was able to get off on surface streets, ended up going 10 westbound at that point for a little while at excessive amounts of speed. Then he exited, turned around again, and ended up on the 101 northbound at that point, being followed by, at that time, the LAPD and CHP on the ground and the sky. Then he exited, ended up on the 110 northbound through the tunnel to Chinatown, continuing at a high rate of speed, and then ended up on the 5 as well, and then exited there, and then ended up near Pacoima in the Outwater area, and finally exited off the 170 in North Hollywood. And that's where things got a little scary. If you didn't get to see it, he got out of his car, showed a rifle, ran through a neighborhood that's allegedly really close to a school, and now is on top of a roof in a neighborhood. And of course we have LAPD and CHP all around this suspect. He's been showing aggressive behavior. Now we're being told that he is off the roof.
Yeah, he is basically off the roof. We don't know where he is exactly here. Hopefully he's in a position where he can kind of, well, be seen by officers and put his hands up, drop his weapon and give up. But to this point, that doesn't appear to be the case. But he is off that roof. So now we can see that rooftop that he was on. Appears to be some sort of a garage or an outbuilding of some sort. But again, he is apparently on the move. Whether he is moving in and out of any particular area is anyone's guess at this point. We just don't know. But hopefully he is moving himself into a position where he can be seen by officers and he can make a peaceful and give up peacefully, I should say. So
well,
hopefully over the course of the next few seconds.
I mean, with that said, he was able to be seen by the police on the roof probably better than on the ground. And if he had wanted to surrender at that point, you know, do the surrender there. Now I feel like if he gets off the roof, now he can hide in bushes and move around, maybe barricade himself inside a home and, you know, possibly get a resident there or something. This is when I think it gets scary because you lose sight of where he is.
Anything is possible at this point. Anything is possible. But given the fact that the guy actually came down off the roof, well, we'll see what he decides to do. I don't know if any of the ground officers or any of the ground units have eyes on him. I just don't know at this point. Basically, when he got off the roof, we were in a position south of him, and so he has basically gotten off the roof, maybe to the north side, in that area of trees just to the left.
Hello?
Right.
And if this is in the North Hollywood area near a school called Oakwood School. This suspect actually, the car that the suspect was driving is registered to a home in Pacoima. So originally we were thinking that the suspect was driving back in that direction. And in fact, he did. He drove around the neighborhood of Pacoima and Arleta, where we're assuming that possibly where he lives or where the car is registered to. But then he got back on the freeway, got back on the 170 south, and traveled for a while. And at one point, while on the freeway, held the rifle outside of the window, sort of as an aggressive move. At least we took it as an aggressive move to say, hey, I've got a rifle. I've got an armed rifle with me. Don't mess with me. He gets off the freeway and then gets out of the car. And now, if you're just joining us, we've sort of lost sight of this suspect. We're hoping that LAPD and CHP has their eyes on him. He was on top of a roof where everyone could see him, including the police, including residents. And now he has disappeared, which is really scary, Mark.
Yeah, it sure is. He could be hiding, under the cover of some trees or some of the patio furniture there. It's just hard to tell at this point. But about 2 to 3 minutes ago, it appears he came down off the roof. And he is now, eluded us, certainly, but hopefully not the eyes of the LAPD. They still have an airship just a couple of feet overhead of this particular location, so hopefully they have a better, vantage point for this suspect here, given the fact that they're so close to it. We do have a couple of officers who are on the ground, basically on Magnolia and Irvine here, so we don't believe that there are any officers who are on the ground in front of this particular residence here, potentially for their own safety, given the fact that he's got a long rifle. But again, once he got off that roof, it became difficult to track this guy. His movements, he may be just kind of ducking around some of the foliage, some of the brush, some of the vegetation, the trees that are in the backyard between this home and
I might have to end this hangout at 4:30.
So,
I'm sorry.
a few minutes ago, we were alluding to the fact that there is a school close by, and it's called Oakwood Secondary School. It's right off the 170 freeway on the west side of the freeway on Magnolia. It does appear that there are several officers who are stationed outside that campus. In fact, Magnolia Boulevard is going to be shut down, I can tell you, say between Colfax Avenue and the 170 freeway. So there is no vehicular traffic along Magnolia between, Colfax and the 170. This is Irvine Street, Irvine just south of Magnolia, and this is where all this activity is taking place. Now, this first block just south of Irvine is called Hartsook Street, and that is the residence where we believe that this person was on top of the roof of that garage, again, on Hartsook Street, just south of Magnolia here in North Hollywood. So just a very tense situation here, given the fact that, we don't have eyes on him, so we don't know exactly where he is. He could be hiding. He could be now taking cover, with something here close to ground. So we just don't know at this point. But certainly this is going to change the way that the LAPD deals with him, at least until they are able to ascertain his specific location.
You can see
on studio with you now. Are they? You talked about the one school, Oakwood School. I assume they probably have done an evacuation there. When I saw him get out of the car and start running up Magnolia, he turned on Irvine and got into house on a property around there. But he was only a block away from North Hollywood High School. I thought at that moment that's probably the direction he was heading, and that would have been a really bad situation.
Yeah, you bet. That would have been a very bad situation. Hopefully, he certainly only made it about halfway there, given the fact that he turned south on Irvine. And so I can tell you that, the high school, which is right below us, essentially, I don't see any activity here. But given that point, it is certainly a possibility that they've placed the local schools on lockdown. As for evacuations, I just don't know at this point. But I can tell you that there are several officers stationed outside and around Oakwood Secondary School, which is just a little bit to the east of his location, basically between he and where the 170 freeway is. And so it appears he may be in the backyard. We will try and get eyes on him here and do our best to ascertain his location. We heard that there might be a possibility that he made entry into a home or into this home. We don't know that for sure, but again, without being able to see him from Sky 5, we just don't know at this point. But we do know that he is in this general vicinity. He has not, so far as we know, been able to leave this general vicinity here. So again, this is going to be Hartsook, right at the intersection of Irvine. It's just Hartsook is a small street. It's a small residential street just 1 block south and parallel to Magnolia, just on the west side of the 170. So we understood that he might have been moving around in the backyard. We don't see that kind of activity at this point, but there is a helicopter directly overhead, and he or she may be able to spot him a little bit better than we can at this point.
Mark, assuming that they know which house he is in, this is obviously, they can obviously wait him out. They've got him pinned in. He can't go anywhere because he is trapped at this point. Hopefully nobody is in the residence that he may have gone into. But I would assume at this point, you talked about the schools being on lockdown, Before anything happens here, are they probably going to go door to door to the other homes and probably get all these people out of there?
You know, Glenn, I suppose that's a possibility here, given the fact that, well, hopefully that they know, given the fact if they know which residence he is in, it's a possibility that they may go door to door. At the very least, they're going to ask residents to stay inside and hunker down until this is all over here. So,
Stay down, hunker down.
If in fact they do know which home he is in specifically, and hopefully they do, because that way they can kind of narrow this down a little bit here. But this neighborhood is essentially going to be locked down. I can tell you that, well, Magnolia between Colfax and the 170 is going to be all tied up. Irvine is going to be all tied up. Anyone trying to enter this neighborhood from the north, from the south, from the west is not going to be able to do so because of all this police activity here. They have had the foresight to block off a lot of the streets leading up to this particular residential block here, and so yeah, they are not going to be able to get in any vehicular traffic, and that is certainly a good thing. They have basically been able to isolate this particular situation here to this one block. So hopefully they do know where he is, and hopefully they do have him kind of pinned up in there, and so he won't be able to move. That is certainly our hope. You know, our secondary hope is that they will be able to negotiate their way out of this, and so that would be an ideal situation. Him giving up in a peaceful fashion would certainly be the way that they would want this to end. So given that he has refused to do so as of yet, kind of changes the dynamic. So hopefully we will be able to see that over the course of the next several minutes. We're just going to kind of make an orbit around and see if we can spot him. We understood that he might have been in the backyard or in one of the backyards here, moving around a little bit, but we have not been able to see that. If in fact he is still outdoors, he might be taking cover. He might be taking cover under one of those trees, but we did understand some chatter that was going over the radios just now that he might have gone into one of the residences here, so that could change things a little bit as well.
Well, that certainly creates a much more difficult situation because, you know, officers, they're going to have to somehow try to approach the house and, you know, not knowing the layout of the property, that's always sets up a dangerous situation. If you're just joining us, this is all started with a pursuit several hours ago. In the Boyle Heights area, we are told that this man with a rifle now that is holed up in one of these homes here at the corner of Hartsook and Irvine in North Hollywood threatened someone in Boyle Heights and then took off in a car. Not sure if the victim that he had the argument with is whose car he may have carjacked, if it was his own vehicle or whatever. But then it started this long, meandering pursuit that lasted quite some time, went through this downtown Los Angeles area, up into Hollywood, up into the northern part of the San Fernando Valley. He then came down the 170, also called the North Hollywood Freeway, and exited at Magnolia. And at that point, he basically ditched the car with a rifle and started running up Magnolia to Irvine.
This is the